Just 45 minutes to the north of the mother city, up on the west coast, lies an area filled with spectacular white dunes. Once a year, the 4x4 Club of Southern Africa, Western Cape, transforms this area into a wonderful playground for the whole family. More than a bit of healthy competition added to the mix. This is the Toyota Atlantis Dunes 4x4 Fun Day 2017, and all the action is brought to you courtesy of Toyota in association with the 4x4 Club of South Africa, Western Cape. The Atlantis Dunes near Melkbosstrand on the Cape West Coast forms part of a conservancy area and is protected by the city of Cape Town. Come October each year, however, the area plays hosts to the 4x4 Club of South Africa's Western Cape's Atlantis Dunes 4x4 Fun Day, an event it has been running for the past 12 years. Toyota SA Motors came on board as title sponsor from the second running of the event and has remained a close partner ever since. Through the years, a number of other partners and sponsors have come on board, but the essence of the Fun Day has remained the same throughout. Here's Club Chairman Skalk Low to tell us more about it.
12th year that we're doing this Fun Day, and Toyota helps us a lot with this. They are one of our sponsors, the main sponsor, and we're very grateful for Toyota helping us to have an event like this here in Cape Town. We hope that this is a huge success and that everyone enjoys it, and that they enjoy their vehicles, and that they must just have fun. This is a fun day and not a major competition, but a fun day. It's also a family day, so we encourage the participants to bring their family and their kids and everyone and enjoy the sun here and the beautiful weather and the sand dunes.
As in the past, only 100 entries were permitted for this year's 4x4 Fun Day, and as always, the slots were quickly booked by the Cape's 4x4 enthusiasts. For most competitors, the day started at the entrance to the Dune Conservancy, as they let the pressures in their tyres down in order to allow easier driving on the soft sand ahead. With that done, all the teams made their way towards the HQ, a squat Bedouin-style tent perched on top of a dune overlooking the action. The day comprised 8 individual tasks, and with 100 teams taking part, the crews were lined up in 8 lines of roughly 12 vehicles each. Next came the driver's briefing, where the organizers ran through the details of the day, confirmed the rules of the event, and reiterated the importance of safety on an event such as this. And with that, it was time for the crews to get in their cars, fire up their engines, and follow their designated leader to the respective first tasks. The organizers opted for a shotgun start, with each line of competitors moving to one of the 8 tasks for the day. The lines or groups would then rotate to each task during the event, ensuring minimal waiting time between the action. And talking of action, let's get straight into it at task number 1.
This is obstacle 1. It's called the bull run. Here they have to do a maneuver through the cones here, the flags. They must come all the way around, stop in the little hole there. They must touch the 2 red flags, then reverse through this S shape here. And this is the bull, where they need to stop their front bumper as close as possible to the bull in the front. They get scored 60, 40 and 20 points here. This is all their bonus points. You get 2 minutes 30 seconds to complete this.
The bull run, as the task was known, proved to be quite a challenge in some respects. What looked like an easy climb around the back of the dune, for instance, quickly became a soft, rutted track, catching out many crews. Then came the reverse section, which was certainly a lot tougher than it looked, especially for the teams driving larger vehicles, such as Toyota Land Cruisers. But by far the toughest part of task 1 had to be the bit that gave it its name. Parking your vehicle with the tip of its front bumper over a bullseye on the ground, well, that's hard enough if you're driving towards the target. Doing it in reverse after completing the rest of the adrenaline-inducing task, well, that's another story altogether. Very few of the crews scored any points on this final section, and just a handful hit the bullseye. And more than one driver just threw up his or her hands in frustration. This was one of those where you had to plan ahead, before even starting the task, or walk away with no bonus points whatsoever. Task 2, on the other hand, looked straightforward enough, but as ever, there was a twist in the tale.
The aim is for the guy to start as close as possible to the bottom of the dune and then race up and stop before the flags at the end.
A lot of emphasis is placed on fun at the Atlantis 4x4 day, and as such, the club attempts to make the co-driver as much part of the action as the driver. Most tasks featured at least something for the co-drivers to do, and task 2, the dune charge, was no exception. As a matter of fact, the special task here, tossing balls into a target, turned out to be the saving grace for many competitors, as the dune charge itself was tough, to say the least. Each competitor had to elect a starting point for his or her dune charge. The closer to the dune they started, the more points they could score on the run, but only if they reached the top of the dune. True to human nature, most competitors wanted to score maximum points, but many faltered and failed before reaching the stop gate at the top of the dune. Again, a supposedly simple task that really separated the men from the boys. But talking of boys, the next obstacle was clearly made for them, as it involved the use of a slingshot or a ketty. Remember that each touch of a flag resulted in a penalty, and the layout of the snake, as task 3 was known, made it very easy to incur plenty of those. The tight route wound its way first up, then down, then up and down and around, true to the name of the task. In the middle was a special task which offered crews the opportunity to make up some of the points lost to the tight flags of the snake. They were given 3 shots with a ketty, having to hit a suspended paint tin a couple of meters away. Each hit was worth 20 points, and with a total of 60 points on offer, this special task quickly became an attractive prospect. Not that everyone found it equally easy to hit the mark. With a slingshot behind them, crews had to tackle the remainder of the snake, avoid the flags, and get to the end.
But it's a tire toe that they have the option of a heavy tire or 2 lighter tires.
Task 4 was known as the tire push-pull, and it pretty much required what it said on the box. The driver of the 4x4 had to choose between the big fat tire or the 2 smaller ones combined. Then it was foot flat on the accelerator, around the circuit and up to the finish line. But before the clocks could stop, the co-driver had to push a tire through a short slalom course using 2 sticks. Easier said than done, with so much adrenaline pumping after the hectic tire pull. Not many competitors opted for the big tire, even though there were bonus points on offer for the larger version. But those who did quickly realized that it was probably better to go small and get home than go big and not make it to the finish. The tire push-pull was a firm favorite with the spectators, thanks in no small part to the noise and flying sand. One car in particular stood out. Just listen to the wastegate of this little Suzuki screaming and popping as they tackled task 4. And talking of tyres, one of the key partners of the event is General Tyre. And here to tell us a little more about their involvement and tyres in general is Ryan Versaghi, Product Comms Manager at Continental Tyre SA.
Last year we were here with Toyota, and I think it's a great partnership. Obviously Toyota is one of our original equipment partners on the Continental Tyre side, and this time we're here with them with General Tyre and our adventure brand, General Tyre Anywhere is Possible, and we have General Tyre grabbers fitted to the media vehicles that are participating today. Well, first of all, we've been able to inflate them lower than we expected. It's been quite hot, so the sand has become very loose, and we've needed to go down lower than what we thought. The tyres have stayed on the rims, there've been no issues, and I think they've acquitted themselves very well for standard vehicles. You want to increase the footprint of the tyre. So when you drive on the road, you have a smaller footprint. Obviously that helps with fuel economy, but you don't need to have the excess grip like on sand, which is a much looser surface. So you deflate your tyre, you extend your footprint, and it gives you better grip on this loose surface.
So that's what the experts reckon. But tyres are nothing without cars to fit them to, and South Africa's biggest manufacturer, Toyota, is a proud sponsor of the Atlantis 4x4 Fun Day. It is an involvement that stretches over more than a decade. And Toyota is as much part of the event as the 4x4 Club of Southern Africa itself.
For us, this is a perfect opportunity to provide not only a showcase of what our off-road vehicles are capable of, but to allow our customers to come out and have a fun-filled day where they can experience the capabilities of their vehicle. Our regional network also gets actively involved within this Fun Day event. So they're out here manning different obstacles, and of course provides them a sales opportunity as well. This is the 11th year that we sponsor the event, and it is a sponsorship that really talks to the points of the brand, and we are happy to continue with it.
With 8 obstacles to tackle, the Fun Day was far from over. As a matter of fact, some of the trickiest challenges were still to come. And with names like Carry the Torch, Nail It and Lulup, the afternoon session at the Dunes was sure to be just as entertaining as the morning. Join us again after the break as we return to the action at Atlantis. Welcome back to the stunning white dunes of Atlantis on the Cape West Coast, scene of the 4x4 Club of Southern Africa Western Cape's annual 4x4 Fun Day. With 4 of the day's 8 tasks behind them, it was time for the competitors to take on the remainder of the challenges. This year, as in the past, the competitors included a number of members of the media as guests of Toyota SA Motors. For 2017, the manufacturer supplied each media crew with a Toyota Hilux Black Limited Edition in which to compete. And the crews took their tasks very seriously, despite their families and friends joining them for the day.
We have 3 media entrants in Hilux Raider 2.8 4x4s, and an interesting fact about that is that they are effectively stock standard vehicles that are able to compete in this event against highly modified vehicles. With the help of General Tyre, the Hilux is perfectly capable of completing, if not all, of these tasks.
Equipped with a box standard Toyota Hilux Black Edition, the crews were sure to face some staunch competition. But then they were a capable bunch, and the vehicles were certainly up to the task as well. From Wille to Wille, Carl Kritziger and his family joined Car Magazine's Nicolou and his family in the media lineup. Anton Willemse from SA 4x4 also signed up, but since he brought a photographer along instead of his family, he was always going to find the going tough. Even so, all 3 media crews were looking forward to the day before the start, and when we caught up with them midway through the day, they were all in fine spirits.
Yeah, it's a fun day, so we had a lot of fun, and it's nice to experience the Hilux diesel auto with that aftermarket General tyres, all-terrain tyres on it. Makes a big difference. So yeah, we have a lot of fun. I mean, there's a lot of modified vehicles here, V8s, big tyres and wheels, and it's nice to see how a standard vehicle with some nice tyres on it can actually do the job.
Challenging. I mean, the boys from Gauteng normally have gravel and mud. The sand is a little bit different, but fun, enjoying it. The dunes. It's so much fun just driving up them, turning around, coming down and just throwing sand in the air when you're having some fun.
How did the tyres cope?
Very nice, and especially paired with the General tyres that we've got on, it's making a good combination. We don't have any problems really with traction and stuff.
But let's get back to the action. Next up was task number 5.
Go through this, go around the corner there, it's a sharp corner. Go a little bit up the hill there, right around at the back, come right through to the front here, go through this turn here, go to the gate. When you get to the inside of the gate, you take the 2 sticks, you take it below the black labels. Your co-pilot needs to take that. Your driver gets out, he can set it. As soon as they start walking, it starts to count. They go around the wooden post, come back, and they have to plant it again without 2 balls falling off. It's worth 80 points. 1 ball falls off, it's 40, both 0. From there you continue, go through this, and come back into the gate. When you get to the gate, I'll stop the time. The time for this course is 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
The marshal made it sound significantly easier than it was, that's for sure. In order for the teams to finish within the allotted time, they had to hustle, especially on the driving sections, so as to leave maximum time for the rather tricky torch-carrying special task. The driver was allowed to assist the co-driver with the torches, but only until the co-driver started moving. After that, it was all down to balance and coordination, as well as a cool head under pressure. Many of the crews made this look easy, when in actual fact it was damn difficult to balance everything on the soft sand. Once back in the car, both crew members had to put on their seatbelts before the final, often crazy dash to the finish. The special task at Carry the Torch was definitely tricky, but probably much easier for most than what waited for them at the next task.
Highly favoured.
Highly favoured.
Okay, this is obstacle number 6, so the driver will start here at the entrance here. He will go all the way, make a circle around there, stop by the hazard tape there, then both drivers will come out. Driver and co-driver will go to the nail station here. Both must hit in the nail all the way down. Once the nail is bent, you can leave it, you're not going to get it out. Once done, back in the vehicle, safety belt back on, and then they go all the way around. They must stop here. So once they stop, touch a flag along the way, you get points deducted. If you reverse, you get points deducted, and whether you stop as well, you get points deducted. So you get points as well if you hit both nails in it, and if you only one, you get one nail in. If you 0, you get 0 for the nails in it.
The driving sections at Task 6 probably offered the least challenge of the day. Not that it was easy, but it paled in comparison to the special task both the driver and co-driver had to undertake here. The task? To hammer a nail all the way into a hard piece of wood. Tricky to do when you are standing still with lots of time and a suitable piece of wood, but an entirely different kettle of fish if you arrived pumped full of adrenaline, with people screaming and cheering from all angles, the clock ticking, and a piece of wood that just won't hold still. Each nail that was fully driven into the wood was worth 50 points, but the moment a nail bent, the crews might as well have given up on the special task. And so by far the majority of teams failed to score full marks at Task 6, but it was also by far the task with the most vocal support, which obviously didn't help all that much, especially for those with a nervous disposition. We heard earlier from the general tyre guys explaining the importance of the correct tyre pressures, especially when driving on sand. Essentially, by lowering the tyre pressures, the footprint of the tyre grows in length, making it much easier for the vehicle to gain traction in the loose sand. And when driving across large sandy sections, a lower tyre pressure allows the vehicle to ride on top of the sand rather than cutting through it into the really soft stuff. But what is the correct tyre pressure to run? Well, a lot depends on the size and type of tyre fitted to your vehicle, and it is best to consult an expert if you aren't sure. But one thing is certain, if you go too far and let too much air out of your tyres, it is very easy to push the rubber off the rim in tight turns. Not that it seemed to bother this crew very much at all. An aerosol tin of deodorant, a match and a bit of bravery was all it took to get them going again. And it left them smelling rather fresh too. Just what they needed to take on Task 7, known as the raster weave.
What you're going to do is they drive forward into the first gate, reverse into the second gate, forward into the third gate and reverse out. The co-driver will plait as many plaits as they can on the rope during the time.
The raster part of Task 7 clearly only referred to the weave, because there was nothing laid back about it. To make things even tougher, the co-driver had to weave a large part of the pleats with his or her hands outside the car. At the same time, the driver had to concentrate on missing all the flags, which would incur heavy penalties on the task. Oh, and just for added measure, the organisers decided to add a section of reverse driving to the mix. Sounds like a handful? Well, it certainly was, but probably a lot less tiring than the final task of the day.
We've got 4 poles with 4 balls. So what you do, you need to stop at each pole. The co-driver needs to get out, put the ball on the pole, go to the next one, stop, safety belt needs to go on every single time, and on the way back, the driver needs to get out and collect all 4 balls. With every drop, penalty points, and it's a time circuit.
The leeuloop predictably had a lot to do with balls. Tennisballen, om presies te wees. The marshal's explanation of the event made it easy to understand what each crew faced at the leeuloop, but even her best bitch fell short of explaining how tiring the task would be. For starters, the starting gate faced up a dune, so crews had to take a short run-up or chance getting stuck even before their fun could begin. But then things got tricky, as most of this task was run along the side of a dune. dragging the vehicles downhill towards the penalty-incurring flags. Add to that the special task, which saw the driver and co-driver racing through the soft sand to place and collect a series of tennis balls, and it quickly became clear where the "new" part of this task's name came from. It was bloody tough, and more than one crew was relieved when it was all done.
Yeah, how was that for you?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Enjoyed it. Thank you. Yeah,
And for you?
Going well.
Balls are all good.
And with that tough but entertaining obstacle, the 2017 Atlantis 4x4 Fun Day was done and dusted. Done and dusted, that is, except for the small matter of the prizes. Remember that even though the emphasis was clearly on fun throughout the event, there was a strong competition element as well. And walking away with the spoils was certainly a target for most of the crews. Join us after the break as we see who was crowned as the big king of the dunes at this year's Atlantis 4x4 Fun Day. Welcome back to the 2017 Atlantis 4x4 Fun Day, where all 100 competitors had now completed an entertaining day filled with challenges known as tasks. With the emphasis firmly on fun, the day offered an opportunity for the entire family to get involved. Beyond the 4x4 driving, most tasks also offered a special task, which invited members of the family to score valuable points. Points that could make all the difference when the final points were tallied. But in the end, a lot of sand was sprayed not just for fun, but for honor. Because despite the laughs along the way, it was the small matter of crowning the winners. After a lovely day in the dunes where even the notorious Cape weather played along, it was time for the scorers to add up their slips from each task, and with all the points added up, one crew emerged as winners. JP Fourie and co-driver Andre Huysamen ended up pipping Dino Burnett and Megan Hiscock for the win. And when we say pipping, it really was a photo finish. Fourie and Huysamen in their 1999 Land Rover Discovery scored 908.8 points, just 1.5 points more than their nearest competitors. Third place went to Andrew Rodriguez, who was 34.3 points adrift. But for Fourie and Huysamen, this was a sweet, sweet victory.
Yes, ek probeer nou al 'n paar jaar die ouetjie wen en ek moet sê die ene wat ek en hy baie goed saam gedoen, goeie span gewees. En die Land Rover het hom gehou. Ons het nie weer die ding gebreek nie. Ek en hy het regtig baie goed saamgewerk. En ons het daai boekie gelees en bestudeer in die oggend. Dit is maar die tips en die tricks kom daar uit.
That brought the 2017 Atlantis 4x4 Fun Day to a close, though the sand from the dunes was sure to remain in the shoes of everyone who attended the day for a very long time. If not literally, then certainly figuratively, as the memories of another very successful and enjoyable fun day are sure to linger for a long time. All the action from the 2017 Atlantis 4x4 Fun Day was brought to you by Toyota in association with the 4x4 Club Southern Africa, Western Cape.